When I first came to Seattle in 1973 from Mississippi, the first job I had was as a legal services lawyer here at what was then called Seattle-King County Legal Services. We had an agreement with the state that we would be allowed access to the Department of Social and Health Services institutions. Mine were the developmental disability institutions. And so for the next 3 years, I represented residents of the DD institutions all over the state. There were 6 of them then. There are 5 now. In the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s, parents who had a child who was developmentally disabled were advised by their doctors, typically, I'm sorry, but the child will have to go to an institution. The science of habilitating developmentally disabled people, of bringing intellectual stimulation and a community atmosphere, and yes, education, special ed, into the lives of developmentally disabled people was then in its infancy. We didn't know. Doctors told parents that the institution was the best. Beginning in the late 60s, early 70s, that changed. And we now understand that it's much better for people who are developmentally disabled to be in community facilities, in the least restrictive alternative that their own situation allows. Well, we got these institutions. There are 5 of them. And my personal belief is that they need to be slowly, gradually closed with great respect to the people who live there and their parents. Those very same parents very often defend the institutional way of life. I can understand that. They've made a choice. But I believe that for young children particularly, as they come into the system, sometimes soon after birth, the institutional choice is a bad one, and that we need to have greater emphasis on community-based developmental disabilities, non-institutions, by which I mean simple apartments called assisted living or these are small apartments in which 2 or 3 people may live together. A social worker may visit occasionally. There may be help with employment. There may be help with various kinds of therapy. There may be specialized medical care or dental care even. But the intellectual stimulation and the openness to the society are needed here. We have these 5 institutions. I believe we ought to close at least 2, possibly 3. Certainly the Francis Haddon Morgan Center in Bremerton, possibly the Yakima Valley School, possibly Rainier School in Buckley. It's not a question of which, although that's an important question. It's a question of when.
Good morning, Senator.
It's certainly not a question of whether. I believe that a bill that I have that is currently wending its way through the Ways and Means Committee will do that. The governor and her staff and the department have been very helpful in working this out. I've worked with Senator Hargrove, the chair of the Committee on Human Services and Corrections, and I believe we have a bill that should be out of Ways and Means and out of the legislature and on the governor's desk within a week and a half or 2 weeks. Let's keep track of it, though. We'll see what happens in the next little bit. Thank you.